All right, hey, it's Matt, BlindGuysGarage, and today we're working on this small block Chevy. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to check push rod length, and we're going to retorque the bottom end, get the intake on, hopefully, and just some other random things on the small block. So hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope y'all will enjoy it. And I've done some random filming on this thing over the last 3 or 4 months, but it's been a parts. She has been. So it is what it is. So most recently, what happened is I have rocker arms and stuff sitting here on the shelf. These are for girdles, but that's okay. So I have rocker arms and all sitting on the shelf, but they didn't fit the studs I had. So I had to order new rocker studs. See, don't fit the studs. These are 7/16, these are 3/8. Rocker arms are 3/8 rockers. Next, I went to put intake gaskets on it. None of the intake gaskets I had fit this style intake. Not a big deal. It's okay. Next, I went to check push rod length, and those didn't fit either. Well, I actually happened to find a pair of those on the shelf, but that's a whole different story. So let's jump into it. All right, so let's start right here. We're only gonna torque a few of these on camera. The rest of them we'll torque off camera. Let me make sure my torque wrench is on. These get torqued at 45 foot-pounds on a 3/8 rod bolt for a small block Chevy. So let's start on it. All right, I'll roll the motor over and bring it back. Probably just going to go roll the motor over and then torque the mains, but bring it back a second. 65 foot-pounds is what the outer bolts belong at, and 70 is what the inners belong at. So here we go, going for it. Did we even put a hole pump drive rod in it? Is the next question. Yes, we did. All right, let's check the back two mains. That way we can be done. Actually, we still got to come across all the centers and set everybody at 70. So let's take a feel at this. Good. And good. So now what I would say to this is probably just a difference in torque wrench, not me. Because, I mean, we were, what, 3-4 pounds off maybe on a couple bolts. So I was using the clicky torque wrench when assembling this engine. I do remember that. So it does show you that not all torque wrenches read properly, and that it probably was not that I didn't torque them as I originally thought. So there we go. Now we'll put the oil pump back on, drop the pan on, and we'll flip it back over and bring it back then. All right, this is just a real quick tip for those who haven't done it. All right, what we're doing now is we're setting oil pan clearance, or oil pickup clearance. So we'll set that clutch, we'll get that oil pump set in place, kick the pickup up, slide the pan on. You'll see it's balancing on the pickup, see that? All you do is you push the pickup pan down. Just like so. Now, we know where the bottom of the pan's at. Now what we'll do is we'll pull the pan back off. The window tray in this pan, it does. And then we will give her just a little more, not a lot, maybe an 1/8 inch. That's it. That's all the pickup clearance we need. Now we'll put this thing together and call it a day. All right, and you'll see the rocker arm, the center of the rocker arm is more to this side over here than the center, unfortunately. But let's see where she ends up at. So I'll turn it right here in live motion for you. So we'll see what it looks like. Y'all ready? I'll turn it all the way up to the, oh, motor's rotating on me. All right, so now we're on the farthest stroke, and you can see the rocker arm tip has moved that way, just past center. Not quite as far away as it was, but I think it's decent. All right, so that's checking the push rod clearance right there. What that does, like I said, oh, I didn't even mention, I always start at somewhere around 7,200. Right now, this is a push rod length checker I'm using, and I have it set at 7200. I have a set of 7266 push rods. The downfall is I don't have a way to measure this push rod checker right now to tell you exactly what I have it set at, because somebody has borrowed my super long dial calipers. So it involves a tape measure, and hopefully you're right. And I know that's not the right way to do it, I know. So, but we know for sure a 7.266 push rod will be close, not perfectly ideal, but really close. So for this motor, being a street engine, it'll probably never see above 5,500 RPM. It should never see above 5,500 RPM. We should be good to go. So now let's get, I'll flip into me torquing the bottom end and showing y'all what all we ended up doing there. And then we'll bring you back for the intake. All right, well, the push rods I had laying here are not the right ones, as I've already showed you. So I actually went and dug through the scrap stuff and found some LS push rods that are pretty close, as I've also already showed you. So what I'm gonna do is set it up with these LS push rods for the time being. This is a roller cam engine. I'm not real concerned. It's going on the it's going on the run stand. So it'll be fired up on the run stand, and that's it. And I'll change the push rods while it's still on the run stand, or before we go to the next vehicle, whenever it goes in a car, something of that nature. But you know, pretty simple, pretty sweet. So let's get to putting the intake on after we get all the push rods in and rockers and stuff on it. So bring it back in a second. All right. So I forgot to mention that we're changing the rocker studs on this motor because it has 7/16 studs and it needs 3/8. Well, make sure you always put a sealant on the threads, because look, it goes into the intake runner, and on most heads it goes into the water passage. This head apparently does not, but they definitely go into the runner, as you can see. Look, so there you go. So now let's do those real quick. All right, hey, so it's a different day. When we was working, I was just about to put the intake on. Somehow my camera didn't videotape any of me putting the intake on, but it also missed me breaking a tool and it falling down the intake and having to take it all back apart. So once I had to take it back apart, I got irritated and didn't film nothing. So now here we are. We got the intake on, and we got to do rocker adjustment. Now we're going to do rocker adjustment different than normal, because I had a friend of mine tell me that you can do it this way, and I want to try it. So we'll find out how this works. What he said is set the motor at TDC, which is close enough, and tighten all of them down by finger, just like so. You'll see there'll be a couple loose. And we'll go down this side, tighten them all down by finger. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, something like that. All right, then he says turn it a quarter turn, do it again, and you'll do this, I believe, 4 quarters, and every valve should be tight. And then you go through and you add your half turn or whatever if it's a hydraulic cam. So let's try it. All right, so we've already started and tightened all these down by finger. Now let's grab a ratchet and turn the motor a quarter turn. So let's see. I built a lot of engines, I just didn't ever do it this way. So let's see what happens. Okay, that's not a quarter. That was the engine rotating on the stand. Okay, quarter turn. Now we'll go through and hit them all. All right, everybody's tight. Let's do it again. All right, and if he's correct, we're going to add a third turn to every one of them. So let's do that. All right, now I'm sure a lot of y'all ask, why didn't you go a half turn on all these valves? And I'm going to show you why. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and run all the poly locks down until they touch. Like that. And I'm going to continue. All right, now we'll just go by every one of them. Put the tool on them. Tighten them all just a little bit more, which will make up to really close to a half turn. And that jams that lock nut in, that lock in there, real good and tight. All right, well, we finished up running the valves, and I went ahead and put the rest of this thing together. So we got the alternator, water pump pulleys, thermostat housing just loosely sitting here, not a big deal. But we'll see how that works. Before we actually fire it up, we're gonna drop an oil pump driver down it, pump it, build oil pressure with it, and then recheck the valves just to be sure that's good. I just want to see if it works. More than anything, more of a test than anything, because I ain't tried it that way and been told it works good. So I guess for here, this is the end of this one. I just got the valve course sitting on here because, also it don't look like we're gonna be able to use these poly locks, as they're too tall and they hit my valve covers. So we're gonna end up having to relash the valves again anyway. So this is more just testing than anything, just so I can see how it works and see if it works the way I want it to. Now, I guess that's it for this video. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe. I answer all the comments. I read them all, I answer them all, and that pretty much covers it. So hope you all enjoyed it. Have a good one. Later.